What's up, guys? How you guys doing tonight? It's like the sun went down. And check it out, guys. There's one more thing I want to share with you guys tonight. It's a real thing, all right? A real thing. I don't have to do this, but I just want to encourage you to believe in these things. Because, check it out. So, what is occurring right... Let me try to turn on this light. So, something occurred, right? Something occurred. The reason, like I shared, God called you worthy. Why did God call you worthy? Why did God call you worthy? There's a language that the Holy Spirit understands. There's a language that He's looking for. And what happens when you start doing really good things? Think about it like this. Like there's a form to fill out. There's a questionnaire. You're being asked questions. Think about it I'm gonna break it down to practical terms so that you can apply. Not so that I can make all of you saints, but so that you can apply. Think about it as a practical form that has to be filled out, a step-by-step thing, or you're being asked questions. You think about it like that, as if you're being asked questions. As if you're being asked questions. Now you're answering all these questions correctly, the way the Holy Spirit is looking for. And then after you fill this out, you have now completed a certain characteristic that the Holy Spirit looks for. And that's why I say, believe in these things. There's a language that only God understands. The world might look at it however they look at it, depending on themselves. But these things are true and these things are real. So when God starts seeing you, He's like, man, this guy keeps answering all the questions the right way. Man, what the heck? I don't see this too often. He's filling out these characteristics that I'm looking for in a person, in a man, in a woman. And when you keep doing that, let's just think about it like a form with questions, and you're filling it out, right? You're filling this out according to God's standards. Now, God is calling you worthy. Why? Because you filled out these characteristics. You're like, you answered all these questions how I'm looking for. And that's the kind of character that I'm looking for. And so think about it that way so that you can apply in practical terms. I'm talking about application here. The reason why I share it in these kind of ways is it's not actually that. You're not really actually being called questions. You're not actually being asked questions. But it's good to look at it in these kind of ways in order to practically apply in a simple way. One thing I was sharing was I joined a discipleship group, right? Monday nights is a group with men. It's a men's group, and we decide to meet up and talk about Christ, right? We talk about Christ and what He's doing in our lives. Why? Because we're all coming from a pretty rough background. Some of these guys have spent time in prison. Some of them were drug dealers. Others drug addicts. Others all kinds of issues. Some are still in prison. Some still in prison. Praying on him to get parole. Saying that Christ has helped him not just change his life, but keep his sanity while he spends decades in prison for double homicide. And it's really unique to talk about all these different men with all these different walks of life. And I like the lessons because we are taught these lessons, right? Like you think about a Christian, or how is learning about Christ gonna change my life? That doesn't make any sense. Reading a book about a guy that tells you what to do, you're gonna learn something. But we break it down in a practical kind of way because it's pretty hard to understand when you have no direction. But we break it down in a practical kind of way. One of the topics we went over in our lesson was pruning versus cutting off, right? Pruning versus cutting off. Pruning is an action word. It means that when you prune something, it's something you want to keep producing. You make it produce. I want to keep doing that. That's something you want to prune, right? So what do you want to prune? Good characteristics, right? Good actions, good things about yourself, right? Good things about yourself. Maybe you're really good at construction. Maybe you're really good at building stuff. Maybe you're really good at sports. Maybe you're really intelligent. Maybe you're a really good speaker or a writer. You want to prune those areas. And of course, the good areas, right? Like I'm a family man. I spend time with my kids. I go to work. All that you want to prune. And what do I mean? What is the opposite? Cutting off, right? We want to cut off. What do we want to cut off? Myself, right? What do I want to cut off? Oh, every time I go to my favorite bar, I get hammered drunk, right? Every time I go to my favorite bar. That's my favorite bar. I love it. It's cheap drinks, great people, pretty girls. Who wouldn't want to go to that? You wouldn't. I wouldn't want to go to that. Why? Because we know what happens. So cut off. It's that simple. Prune versus cut off. And that's what I mean about simple applications, practical applications. Because sometimes we're talking about things that are like, okay, like a haircut. It makes you look good. That's a good reason. Haircut makes you look good, right? Or for a job. Good reasons. But in reality, that's not a very important kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, is it gonna, what I mean by putting importance on it, we're talking about, is it like bad for you? Is it threatening? Is it a harm to your health? Is it dangerous? Those are the kind of things that I'm more talking about practically. Like getting a job. I'm looking for a job. I need a haircut. Good reason. Cut it off. But it's not the most important thing I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean about practical applications. We try to break down these what could be a very broad spectrum of all kinds of ideas, right? Because you could go anywhere, but it's better to break it down into a practical application and just look at it that way in more simple terms in order to understand it. And not so you could conquer the world, right? This Bible is going to teach me how to turn everyone against the Pharisees and then get me crucified and resurrect. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys got something out of this little video, and I hope you guys enjoy your night.